All right, let me just make sure that I'm recording. Okay, we're good to go. All right, I'm going to share my screen back out, and we'll go from there. If you can't see anything or hear anything, just let me know. I've got the cameras up here, but I've kind of got it in a off to the side, so I can't see anyone waving their hands or anything. So just let me know if you can. All right, so welcome, guys. Glad that you are here. This is going to be like our last kind of big informational session. So that's why I want to record today, to get the information all kind of in a set spot so that we can post it and let people start to send in applications for the program. I did get a lot of emails from people that have attended the previous sessions that said that they were not able to make it today, which is totally fine. At the end of today, I'll send all this information out. I'll send these slides out. I'll send out this recording. I'll mention a couple forms that are going to be available for additional questions. I will send that out in an email to everyone that is here, and then all the folks that weren't able to make it too. So before further ado, just to kind of get some introductions, my name is Steve Johnson. I'm the Assistant Director of Technology. I'm over and involved with digital learning and STEM in the district, and so I work with a team of digital integration facilitators throughout the county. Just as a little personal background to me in Moore County, I came to Moore County in 1998, fresh out of college. I taught kindergarten first. You know, that was my first teaching job, was teaching kindergarten, which I loved. I taught kindergarten. I taught second grade for a few years at Vast Lakeview Elementary. And then I moved into a computer lab position. And ever since, I've been working with teachers on how to use digital instruction in their classrooms. So that's me. I'm Steve, and I'll just hand it off, and we'll kind of go down the line if you guys don't mind. I don't see that Dawn has made it in, so we'll just skip Dawn, but I'll go to Jill.
Hey, I'm Jill Tyler. I'm the Digital Integration Facilitator with Moore County Schools. This is my 20th year in education. I did 1 year virtual teaching for the North Carolina Virtual Academy, which was a charter school. I did that 1 year. I was curious. It was the first year they offered virtual teaching to students in elementary school, and also had a personal need. I had some sick, rather sick in-laws, so it was a way for me to help take care of them and also feed my curiosity on doing the virtual teaching with elementary students. So I was passionate about it and wanted to help with this blend ed program, and I'm very blessed to get to work with Steve. Steve is my boss, and also get to work with Ms. Vang. She's the assistant principal at McDeeds. And I have worked with Ms. Hull that you're getting ready to talk to as well, and looking forward to working with Ms. Earhart.
And Dawn, she is the assistant principal at McDeeds, and so she's a great contact also. If she pops in, I'll have her introduce herself if she's able to, but for now, we'll skip on down to Tammy.
All right, can you hear me?
Yep, I got you.
Yes, okay. So I am Tammy Earhart. I will be the 3-5 blended learning teacher. This is going to be my 6th year in Moore County Schools, but my 18th year in education. I've taught all grades, K-5, and been an assistant principal and a curriculum director. That's my background.
Thank you.
Hello, everybody. I'm Miss Holden. I've also been teaching in the county for 6 years. Have 10 years teaching experience. Taught second and third. Also have a background in like preschool age, some younger children too. But yeah, I'm really excited about starting this program. Tammy and I are committed to making the program work for sure. We've already talked about, you know, doing some planning in the summer. So we're really excited to get it going and make it very successful.
And I had taken Kate out here, but I'm going to add her right on the fly. Can you introduce yourself, Kate?
Yes, I'm Kate Faw. I'm the Director for Planning, Accountability, and Research for Moore County Schools. I've been in education more than 15 years. I've been a classroom teacher at the high school level, and I was assistant principal at the alternative school and at traditional high school. So my experience tends to trend more towards the high school side, but I'm super excited. And as you can tell, I have young kids, so.
Awesome. Thank you, Kate. Didn't mean to leave you off there. All right, so I'm just going to go through and kind of talk about the agenda and what we're going to go through today. This is an informal session, and so if you've got questions or concerns or things that pop into your head, just please unmute your microphone, and don't feel bad about interrupting at all. You know, I've told people before, as you know, I've taught kindergarten and second grade, so it's nothing that bothers me to pipe up. I am going to keep this to 1 hour though, so we are going to finish up right at 4 o'clock or as close to it as we can. So this is what we're going to talk about. We're just going to talk briefly about why are we committed to this? Why did we develop this program in Moore County? Go over the current plan for what it looks like. Blend Ed is the branding for this, and so this is a situation solution that's coming up for the homeschool families for both 9, 12, and for K-5. And so I'll talk about that a little bit. We'll spend the most time on diving into the structure of the model. So that's where we get the most questions, obviously. You know, what is the model? What does it look like? What are my kids going to be doing? And so we're going to dive into that so you guys get a good, clear understanding of where we've landed there. We put in a new slide for this info session because we keep getting a lot of frequent questions about certain topics. And so I'll go over some of those frequently asked questions. And then we'll just have an open Q&A to see if anyone has any follow-up questions that we haven't addressed. And then finally, at the end, we're going to talk about the application enrollment process, which we've got squared away. We're going to start opening up applications this Thursday. And then lastly, we'll just finish up with what the next steps are for the program. And at any point here, Kate, Jill, Michelle, Tammy, just pop in. If there's something that I'm missing or something that you can add to, just feel free to just pop in and share along. All right, well, without further ado, I'll start on first of all, basically just how we got here. What is our context? And so just to give you a little bit of background, about a couple years ago in 2018, we started partnering with a program called the Innovation Project in North Carolina. They do a lot of different things, but our specific interest was about our population here in Moore County. Where are kids going to school? If you've been in Moore County for a while, you know that the population is rapidly increasing. The population of Moore County is changing a lot. Like I said, I've been here since 1998. It has changed dramatically since I got down here, and in a good way. So a lot of great things happening in the county, a lot of growth happening in the county. And what the Innovation Project did is they opened our eyes a bit where, you know, in the past 4 or 5 years, we've kind of seen anecdotally and just from out in the community that our homeschool population has really been growing and becoming stronger in the county, but we didn't really have any numbers or specifics on that. Well, the Innovation Project provided that to us, and they shared with us that out of all school-age kids in the county, about almost 11% of them are homeschooled, and that number keeps rising each year. And so we have this growing population that we have not been meeting their needs or not been seeking out ways to partner with them. And so that's what Moore County Schools is. We're a community organization. We serve all the students in the county, and we're trying to find ways to partner with students that we haven't traditionally partnered with and families. The last thing here is, as part of this, we've been doing, one of the questions we get, it seems like every time we do a session, the question is asked, are you doing this because of COVID-19 and the extended closures? It would seem so, but the fact is we've been planning on this for about 1.5 years, and so we've been developing this for quite some time. We've visited a lot of other counties that have had successful programs, Granville County, Iredell, Statesville County, and when we visited, we've learned a lot about how they did their programs, but we also came back and knew that we have really great people and support and locations and facilities that we could do it even better. And so that's where we landed. So the current plan. So this is the current plan for Moore County Schools. For Blend Ed, that is the new logo that was released a couple weeks ago by our communications department up in the upper right-hand corner. And so you may have seen on Facebook or social media that they've released a marketing campaign to let people know, homeschool families know, that it's opened up for high school, for grades 9 through 12. And so in 9-12, what we started is a blended program where students can take 2 classes with us and also continue with their homeschool. These could be face-to-face classes, they could be NCVPS virtual classes, these could be Sandhills Community College classes, and they can do a blended environment. So they can choose some of ours that may fill in the gaps for their homeschool program and also do their own homeschooling at the same time. And so that started off well. We've got a lot of interest in that. And then the other program we're going to talk about today is obviously K-5, so we'll dive into that. And 6-8 is not currently, for the next year, is not currently in the plan. And the reason for that is primarily space and money for teaching positions. And so we have a very tight budget restraints in the county. And so in order to expand to grade 6-8, which we already have found out, there's a big audience for that. There's a lot of people looking for that. We're not able to do that until we can get those funds secured. And so what we're looking forward to is starting off in K-5, starting off in 9-12, growing the program so we can then look to offer 6-8 in 21-22. So that is the general overview of kind of where we are with Blend Ed in Moore County Schools, 9-12 and K-5. We'll talk about the K-5 model here in a second, hosted at McDeeds Creek. And the last thing I do want to mention that, you know, this is our third informational session. They've all been through Zoom. The original plan was to do these. We had these places booked already before COVID-19 school closures happened. We were going to be at the Southern Pines Library, the Pinehurst Community Center, the Robbins Library, just to really get the word out to homeschool families. And so it's been a little bit strange. Those of you that are here, you've probably heard about it through Facebook or through email. It's probably been a much different way of advertising than we traditionally would have done. So thank you for being here, and we'll continue to make people aware. All right, so to move into the meat of it, we want to talk a little bit about the program and what it's going to look like. And so you've met our two teachers. We're extremely excited. Last session we had, they were just hired, but they weren't official yet, so I couldn't announce them. So we're really super excited to have Ms. Hole and Ms. Earhart be the first two teachers to be a part of this program. And so this is what it looks like. So essentially, Ms. Hole is going to be the K-2 teacher, and Ms. Earhart's going to be the 3-5 teacher. And the way it will work is we'll have, for each of those teachers, each of those K-2 and 3-5, we'll have 24 total slots for students. And so those 24 is going to be a hard cap because we want to keep the numbers small for these cohorts. And so what we're looking to do is to take those 24 students and divide them into 2 cohorts. So there will be 2 cohorts of 10 to 12 students for each of those teachers. The way that it works is there's a blend of face-to-face instruction with Ms. Earhart and Ms. Hole with partnership homeschool instruction in the home. And so the way it will look, and hopefully the colors aren't too confusing, but the K-2, for example, if you look at just the K-2 side, cohort 1 is in blue, cohort 2 would be in yellow. So these 10 to 12 students will come into school on Mondays and Wednesdays for face-to-face content instruction with Ms. Hole. And then on Tuesdays and Thursdays, they'll be doing their extension activities at home with a partnership with the parents or the learning coach. And so that's how it looks. It's a either or day. And actually that was based on feedback from parents from our first couple sessions. They said that works better for them and that it made more sense to do some content face-to-face and then a follow-up with the parent at home, hands-on online modules, and then face-to-face, and then at home again. And so if you look at 3-5, it would be the same type of setup. So there would be 2 cohorts of students from Ms. Earhart, Monday, Wednesday group, and a Tuesday, Thursday group. Now Fridays, we're really excited about because Fridays, when we went to visit a couple of other counties, they did some really interesting, innovative things on Fridays where they did a lot of enrichment, a lot of field trips, guest speakers. They can do some in-depth tutoring. So if there's students that have trouble throughout the week that need extra help, that could be a time to really hit them in depth and bring them in face-to-face or virtually. A lot of those things were parent-led, where the parents brought together and they did a lot of the field trips and they kind of led some things on their own. And so that's what the Fridays look like as far as that model goes. So just to make sure I don't miss anything, so that's the basic structure of the day and the week. The school day will be from 8 to 12 o'clock. And so it will be doors open at 7:45. Instruction starts at 8 o'clock. There'll be a snack time in the morning, about halfway through. And then at 12 o'clock is when students will be picked up. There will be a separate drop-off and pickup area. So this is hosted at McDeeds Creek, which I can't say enough about. I don't know if I can't see if Don's popped in or not. They've been extremely helpful to us in setting up this program at McDeeds. It's a beautiful new school. The classrooms are amazing. It's just a great environment to start this program. And so what we're going to do is this program will run in conjunction at the same site, but it's a separate environment. It's not McDeeds Creek Elementary. So McDeeds Creek, where they might have their bell start at 7:30, drop off for us will be 7:45 to 8, so that we don't mix too much of the car line and the logistics of getting the kids in and out. And so we'll have a separate drop off and pickup area for the blend ed kids. The other thing that's really great about McDeeds Creek is a real benefit is not only will we have the core content classes there from the 2 teachers, but we've also got access. Students in this program will have full access to all the extracurricular activities at McDeeds Creek, all the clubs, all the dances, all of that. It will be a part of what those students can have access to at McDeeds Creek. And then the other piece of it is we met what is today? We met yesterday. Seems like 11 long week already. But we met yesterday and we talked about the enrichment classes. And so there will be also that option for parents. So at 12 o'clock, if you want your student to stay longer and do art, music, PE at McDeeds, they'll have that opportunity as well to stay longer during the day. The last thing I just want to make sure I mention on this slide is that this is a true partnership. And so it's truly a linking of home and school. So there's no way that we can teach your students a full year of instruction with 8 hours a week. And so it has to be a partnership. So it's got to be a real tight connection between the teacher and the family to make sure that our students are staying on track and learning everything they can and reaching their full potential. So I'm going to pause right there just to see if there's any questions, or if Jill or Tammy or Michelle, if there's anything that I missed as far as that description. I'll just pause. I'll give the old teacher 15-second pause and see if there's anyone that has anything to ask or add.
Dawn just jumped on, Steve.
Oh.
I did.
Hey, Dawn.
I'm so sorry I'm late. It has been meeting after meeting today. But I did want to hop on and just say, just to have a face with a name, but I'm Dawn Vang, and I am the very proud assistant principal at McDeeds Creek.
Awesome. Thank you, Dawn. I'm so glad you chimed in because I could not see your face. So thank you. All right. And also, I forgot to mention this part. If you have anything that you want to put in the chat bar, that's also a place that you can throw information in as well. All right. So move on to some of the frequently asked questions. So these are a lot of the questions that we've gotten when we've done these info sessions. They've been really great feedback from parents that have been participating, not only during the sessions, but also following up with emails. And also, I've got a form that I'll show you all at the end that you can follow up and ask questions. So I've had a lot of great dialogue with parents, and they've really driven a lot of the decisions that we're trying to make here. But see, these are some of the questions that have been asked. So I thought I would go ahead and put this out there. One of the first questions is, what is the curriculum? What will it be, and will it be free to parents? The answer to that is we're exploring options. And so right now our teachers and Jill are diving into 2 different options. Florida Virtual has expansive K-5 curriculum, and Edgenuity is another one that has expansive K-5 curriculum. Those are 2 that we've seen in various other counties that we wanted to pilot. So right now we don't have a decision on that because we need our teachers to give us feedback on, is it easy enough to use? Is it easy for parents? Is it easy for students? Is it good? Is it aligned with our content? So no decisions on that yet, but we are actively looking for that, and we'll follow that feedback straight and true. Now, will it be free to parents? The answer to that is yes. So this is a public school, and all the materials and resources that we have will be completely free to parents. That would include any kind of online instruction, any kind of modules, any kind of learning management, subscriptions to content. So we subscribe to Discovery Ed, for example. So all of that would be opened up to those students. We have math textbook adoptions and materials and resources. Anything that you would see in a regular public school would be a part of this program. So that was one big question. Another one is, how will you teach multiple grade levels and age ranges of students effectively? And this is a great question. And thankfully, we have a lot of experience on the team as far as this goes. So essentially, the answer to this is it's all about differentiating for students. It's all about finding out where their needs are, finding out where they are on their learning path, assessing them to see what do they know about a certain topic, and then meeting them where they are, and then continuously checking in on that progress. And so a lot of that, what looks like, is small groups and rotations and individualized work based on the content. And so you may be studying one thing, you may be studying writing, for example, how to put together a piece of writing. And you're going to have students, even in a regular second grade classroom, you're going to have students that are here and students that are here in that process. And so it's our job to meet those kids where they are, no matter the ability level, but also the grade level range. And so that's essentially the short answer to that question as far as how do you effectively teach multiple ranges of students in one classroom. The next question is, how will my child's days be decided? And so am I going to be a Monday, Wednesday student, or am I going to be a Tuesday, Thursday student? And when I go through the application here in a moment, we'll see that there is a preference check mark on the application where parents can choose either Monday, Wednesday, Tuesday, Thursday, or no preference on the actual application. A lot of this will be decided, though, in our first week of school. So in the first week of school, I thought this was a great idea. I don't remember whose it is. I always forget who has the great ideas, but I know it was a great idea of when the cohort comes in for that very first week of school, we'll do some face-to-face staggered assessments. So we may only bring in a certain number of students per day, maybe 6 per day, 7 per day, and we'll let that be a time to establish relationships, but also to figure out, where the students are in their learning. And that way we can use that information to really make some targeted cohorts so we can get kids that are together that can learn well together. And so that, combined with the student preference, is how we'll come up with the days of the week that we will assign to those students. And I'm going quickly. I don't know if I'm going too quickly, but if you guys have anything to chime in, just feel free. And the last question that I put on here was, will my child need to participate in state testing requirements? And the answer to that is yes. As a state public school, all students that are enrolled in our schools have to follow the state testing requirements. And that's just something we don't have any choice on. That's just a reality we live in. Of course, there are accommodations. So if a child needs accommodations for tests, we accommodate based on the child, but we are subject to all the testing requirements. I'm going to pause there and just see if there's any questions, concerns, if there's anything that I may have missed. I'll just take a quick pause to see if there's anything I need to catch up on. I'll also check the chat real quick just to make sure I'm not missing anything there. Ooh, it's quiet today. That's all right. That's all right. Maybe people are just worried about being on the official recording. I'll chalk it up to that. All right. Well, fantastic. So like I say, if you've got questions or concerns or anything like that, right after, at the end of this, I will show you the form and my email address that you can send me any questions that you have. I'll be glad to answer it that way. And we'll keep rolling. All right, so I want to go through the application process. This is just now finalized and ready to open up. So it's very exciting for us because, like I say, we've been working on this for a long time. And to get to the part where we can actually start enrolling kids and seeing who the kids are going to be a part of this program, that's the most exciting part, is seeing who the kids are and getting to know them. So let me go ahead and show you the application process. This is linked here. It will also be linked on the website that I push out. I'll also send it through email. And so essentially, it's a PDF form. And so what I'm going to do real quick, this is what it looks like. And this is a fillable PDF. And since I'm sharing my screen, I think I'm just going to keep it like this. But on the actual PDF, you're going to see little blue boxes that you could type in. And so all this is a fillable document that you could just type in and print out and send. So this is the application. And so obviously we've got our general information that we need: student name, date of birth, grade level, parent guardian name, student residence, then best contact phone and email. These are the next pieces of information we would like to know on the application. If the student has ever had an IEP, that would be very helpful for us to know. A 504 plan, also very helpful. An English learner plan, an EL plan, yes or no. And then you see next to that is where you would mark the preference: Monday or Wednesday, Tuesday or Thursday, or no preference based on days. We'd also like to know the grades that the child is previously homeschooled. So it may be a situation where a parent has homeschooled their child from K, first, and second, or maybe they came to school at a local elementary school. Maybe they went to Southern Pines Elementary for kindergarten and first, and they were pulled out to homeschool in second and third grade. We would just like to know and get a feel for the homeschool experience of the child. We'd also like to know if there's any siblings, because we had a lot of parents that were interested in not only their K2 child, but also their 3-5 child. I will mention, just for the record, that we want an application for each child. We just want to make sure that we keep our paperwork straight, so we know exactly how many children are going to be getting applied for. And finally, if the answer is yes, any siblings that are applying for the blended program, how did you hear about it? And then what drew or attracted you to the program would be information we would love to know in the application. So it's a one-pager, and the way that we're going to work this is we are going to ask parents to send the application directly to me. I have an email address that I've kind of added a little tag to so I can keep track of the applications and make sure I don't miss any. And so the email address that will be sent, so basically fill out the PDF and send it via email to sjohnson+k5@ncmcs.org, at which point you'll get an auto reply email. And in that email, it's going to say, thank you for applying. I've received your application. And it's also going to have a link to a form just to specify what time of day would be best to have a face-to-face meeting. Because the next step is, after the application is received, based on the time sent from that form, we'll schedule a face-to-face meeting on a Tuesday, likely the following Tuesday, depending on when the application was received. And during that meeting, we'll go over the program, we'll answer any questions. Sending in the application is not a commitment. It is not a, you're not signed into anything. It's just taking the next step to apply, and then meet with me and Dawn to make sure it's a good fit, make sure any questions are answered, and come to an agreement. And once we come to that agreement, we'll send that information on to the team, and essentially we'll process the application and give notice of acceptance to parents after that. We expect this to be a quick turnaround. We met yesterday, like I said, and we talked about this process, and we really feel like we can turn this around quickly. We're a very small, lean, fighting team, right? So we'll be able to get those applications in and meet with you and turned around very quickly. And then at that point, once that is turned around, you would then come in face-to-face to McDeeds Creek Elementary and go through the normal enrollment process with Kim Bone, who is the data manager at McDeeds Creek, and she'll be glad to help you with that. The last thing I want to say on this slide is that we will have a hard cap. And so one of the other questions, I'm trying to remember all the questions that have been asked. One of the questions has been, how is the slot determined? You know, is it going to be a lottery situation? Is it going to be a first come, first serve situation? We talked about that as a team, and we've decided that the best way forward would be as a first come, first serve situation to get the program off the ground. And so the question then is, how is it slotted out as far as a queue? So how would it be if there was a waiting list? And essentially what we'll do is I will put a timestamp on when the application was received, not when the meeting happened, not when the enrollment happens, but when the application was received is where we will start that queue as far as the 24 slots for each section. So I just want to make sure that's really clear that that's how that's going to work as we get started. So I will stop here again and just make sure there are no questions or concerns before I move on to the next step. I see a chat thing blinking at me. Yeah. So I'm going to read this question out. Great question. Would the students be solely with Ms. Hull or Ms. Earhart during school days? Would they go to other classrooms and teachers during the 8 to 12 time period? Also, are the extracurricular classes just until 12:30, or are there more offered after that? Great question. All right, so the answer to that is yes. The first part is yes, those students will stay with that teacher for those 4 hours. There are no current plans to move them throughout the school or blend them in any way with the other classrooms that are there. So, for example, if you've got a second grader, that second grader would be with Ms. Hull for the entire 8 to 12 time. And they wouldn't be doing reading groups with the second grade class down the hall or anything like that. It would be just with Ms. Hull or Ms. Earhart. The next part of the question is extracurricular classes just until 12:30. That's where we're going to start. And so this is all brand new to us. And so that's where we felt was going to be the best time to fit in with the master schedule that is at McDee's with those art, music, and PE teachers. And so that's where we're going to start. And we're going to start there from 12 to 12:30. Just because we don't get the kids too hungry. We have some other ideas about how we could do like a kind of a working lunch, if you will, through some of these if the kids get hungry. But that's where we're going to start, and we're going to see based on feedback from the kids, from the parents, and the teachers. Is it working? Do we need to expand? Do we need to offer other opportunities? We can look at that. So I hope that answers that question.
I just wanted to add, I think we talked about this, Steve, too, that it would just be the students in our classes attending the specials, right? The enrichment classes. So they wouldn't be blended in with another classroom.
Yeah, exactly. So the students in Ms. Hull's class would stay together for that specials time. They wouldn't be going into the other special time that the other students in McDee's would be going to. That's how we'll start. Great, thank you. And again, pipe in if you have any more questions, and if I miss anything, let me know. All right, lastly, I just want to kind of go through the timeline and our next steps. And so, like I said, we're really excited. We're finally gotten here after so much time and so much work. I don't know if you can hear my dog, but that's a thing in my house. So, so we're really excited about the next step, which is actually opening up the application process. It's been a long time coming. And so what we're doing right now is the teachers and the core team, we're working to work on the curriculum, the materials, developing the program, the pacing, the units, thinking through student rotations, how we're going to differentiate for students. That's what we're doing right now. That's the work we are doing to prepare and get ready for this and launch in the fall. The applications will open on June the 11th, so that is this Thursday. And so in order to give everyone kind of a fair slate as far as applications and when they come in as far as slots, we're going to launch it all at the same time on June 11th at 8 a.m. And so we'll open them up on June 11th, and from that point forward, that's when the applications will come in. So that information will be on the website. We'll blast that out so we kind of get a fair shake to everyone that's been in the loop. I have an email drafted to you already that I will update with the link to this recording as soon as I can get it posted. And you'll receive actually 4 links. I missed one here. The link to these slides will be in your email. a link to a feedback or lingering questions form. And so that is a form that if you weren't comfortable speaking up or asking a question here, please fill out that form, and I get those turned around very quickly. And then the last one I do want to mention, if you have not, I will actually click on this one. If you have not filled this out, if you are here and you have not filled this interest form out, I'm going to ask you to please fill this out for me in the next 30 minutes after we conclude. And in fact, I need to put the link to this in the chat so that you can fill it out. So what I'm going to do in the chat bar here, I just pasted the link to this form. The reason this form is important is because this is how I send people information. And so this is where I'm collecting email addresses so that I know who to send the links to. And so if you wouldn't mind, even if you're in here now and you've not filled this out, if you could please fill that form out. It's just a simple name, email address, and then I do have slots here that kind of give me an idea of when the best time is to do a session. So that form, please make sure you fill that one out. And the fourth link will be the actual link to the video that I'm recording right now. So that's our next steps. We're going to open up applications, start meeting with parents, start meeting our kids, and then the teachers and I will continue to work on putting the program together and making it the best it can be. And our first day of school, believe it or not, Monday, August the 17th. And it's a weird summer. And it's been a weird couple months. But we are gearing up and really excited for that first day to come back in August to see our kids again. So that is it for now. Want to say thank you for coming. In fact, I'm going to go ahead and stop recording real quick. Okay.